Hey guys, it's Josh from KDM Tuners. Today we are going to get into the wrapping of an intake. If you guys have seen our previous videos, you've noticed that our intake on the race car is old and decrepit. It's been on the car for 5 years. It's got literally the stuff shredding off of it. So we thought it would be a good opportunity to replace that, put some DEI gold wrap on this intake and show you how to seamlessly do that. Before we get started though, if you guys like what we're doing over here and want to see more videos or be notified as a new video comes out, go ahead and hit the subscribe button in the bottom corner. I don't know which one it is. And then also hit the like button if you like the videos, the not like button if you don't like the videos, and all that good stuff. So let's just jump right into this thing and get this thing started, and we'll explain as we go. So let's turn this silver thing into a gold thing. Alright, so we got our intake. Let's take this bad boy off. I guess the only real way to do this, instead of trying to untie it, is we're going to just cut the old handy dandy lace and see if we can't unlace this a little bit.
That hurts, man. Does it hurt you?
It hurts. It's a little too close for comfort, sticking those things in there, giving her a snip. Ugh. And this little kit right here is pretty cool. It comes with all different, like the whole pack comes with yellow, blue, purple, pink, red. There's all different color laces that come with this. I think it was like 50 bucks. So it's kind of a neat thing if you guys wanted to wrap your intake with this. It's universal, so you can cut it to size, and it's pretty neat. Pretty neat contraption. Just, you know, I like the way it looks, but not everybody likes this look. Probably one thing in my engine bay that everyone always came by and snickered at, or had a question about, or laughed about, or everyone thought I was into some bondage shit because of it. But I just like it. So let's get this out. Oh man, that's tight. Let's just cut it again. And believe it or not, this thing was a pain in the ass to get on there though, so I had to employ some help. It took 4 hands. Dang, this thing's really on there, guys. Thought it'd be all graceful and get this off all easy and fancy like. So what this is pretty much a fiberglass. Let's just go ahead and take this pipe out of here for a minute. We'll get back to that. So what this is a fiberglass weaved material with a reflective coating sewn onto the outside of it. I actually have my lower intake pipe with a material similar to this, but with the gold on the outside, that I picked up off of eBay of all places, and it is really thick fiberglass. So it's actually really nice. But as you can see, all this is just, you know, this goes in the pipe and it folds over the top, so it double layers it, and you just stitch it together. And it just comes in a long tube, and you shape it and cut it to however you want it. So this thing was pretty good for the time it's been. After it took about 5 years before it started shredding a little bit here, so it did its job. So it's time to say goodbye to the fancy laced up intake. So sad. All right. Now here's a dirty intake for you. So as you can see, we still have our weld marks there, and we're gonna just wrap right over those. First thing we need to do on this is clean it. It is dirty. So let's go ahead and clean this off real quick. All right, guys, so we cleaned this thing up. It actually wasn't dirty, it's just stained, probably from weather or whatever. One thing we did real quick is, on my car, we don't have a battery tray anymore, so the bracket that was actually holding this in place really did nothing. And it was just hovering into space. So we went ahead and cut that off completely. Just, we don't need it. Oops. All right, so what we're going to use today is going to be the DEI wrap and reflect the gold, it's called. There's a few different sizes on these. This is a 2-inch, and today we'll probably end up cutting strips in half when we get to the radius and the bend. We'll try it without, we'll just see how it goes. But if you guys want this, we'll put descriptions below. You can get that directly from our site. You can get them on Amazon and stuff. We'll give you a couple different options where you can get this stuff. The part number on there is going to be your for the 2-inch. Well, you can see all the different part numbers for the different sizes. So it looks like they have a 15-foot roll, a 30-foot roll of both the 1.5 inch, and also a 15 and a 30 for the 2-inch. So today we're using a 30-foot roll of 2-inch. And before we open this one, we're just going to go ahead and reuse some leftover stuff we had from when we did the wrap on the manifold that you guys may have seen on the Josh Bird build. So in another video down the road, if I can convince my wife to wrap another one of those, we'll show you guys how to do that. Maybe even come up with a pattern kit to where we'll sell you guys the pre-cut patterns and you just literally peel and stick. It would be real easy, so we might do that for you. But anyways, first steps first. So the idea behind wrapping these is you don't just start wrapping it and then just go around the whole thing, you know, and keep going. Like, so I see a lot of guys, they just kind of do this thing and just keep wrapping. What happens is you're going to get a lot of crinkles and creases and whatnot on there. So the idea is, first you're going to need your marker. So we're going to mark this thing. So you're going to go on the underside, the side that you don't see. So if the intake is sitting, see, like this, this is going to be the top of the intake. So you want this to all look nice. What we're going to do is mark a seam on the bottom side. So it doesn't have to be precise, but what we're going to do is we're just going to put, just for visual reference, we're going to draw a line down the center of this whole thing. Okay, so now that it's marked on the underside, you can use a Sharpie, hashtag Sharpie, or whatever you guys use, it doesn't matter. Just mark the underside of this thing. You can even use a piece of tape or whatever. So the idea behind this is going to be, you're going to cut strips. So each strip, basically you're going to start, and then you're going to overlap this line. So you're going to start there, you're going to wrap this around, and overlap it. I don't know if you guys can see that. So you're going to overlap in this just general area, you know, on the underside. We just marked this so we know this is where people are never going to see the underside. So then this is our seam. So then you can go ahead and either cut that right there, but just since I'm holding it here and for video purposes, we'll go ahead and mark this. So what we'll do, just get it close. And we have our little piece right there, and we're just going to overlap it about maybe 1/2 inch. So we'll make a little mark there. So now we have these strips that we're going to do. So now we have these strips that we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're actually going to cut the strip out. Okay, so now you have a strip. So what we're going to do on this is basically we're going to unpeel this. We're going to start on the bottom or the top here where you want it to look nice. So just pick a spot and you're going to start from the middle and get it nice and tight like that, okay? And then when you get to the underside, you're going to put one piece down and you're going to wrap the other one over the edge of that, boom, and that's your first piece. And then every piece after that, we're going to pick your seam, however far. If you wanted a 1/2 inch gap or inch, I'll show you. We just make a bunch of these and we're just going to keep wrapping all the way down and we'll show you how that looks. So now that we did that, I want to go ahead and we're just going to cut a bunch of these strips. So you can use this as a template and just go ahead and cut a few strips of these. You don't have to go crazy and cut a bunch, but I like to cut a few just to keep me going. This whole process will take you an hour or so. Another thing you can do, I don't have one with me right now, is get like a ruler, measure each one, and then so that way it's perfectly the same each time and you don't have to deal with all this weirdness. So, okay. So I don't know how many strips this one's gonna take. It might take a lot of strips. It might take, well, it's gonna take a lot of strips. Okay, and then we're gonna have some scrap here, it looks like. That one's short, so we'll save that for who knows what. So, let's just start off with what we got here. And we got a few strips going. And then what you guys want to do, and what I would say, the most visual part of this whole intake is going to be probably from here. Probably from here to here. So you want this to be perfect. Considering that this is a straight shot here, I'm going to go ahead and start on this end. So again, we're going to set your intake. And we'll go ahead and, this is our, get rid of that one. This is going to be our top edge. So we're going to go ahead, you can go all the way to the edge if you want. We're going to have a coupler there. So I just go a little bit up from the edge. And then we just kind of work it. The more time you guys spend on this process of like actually getting it to seat is better. So just like if you put a sticker on the car, you want to make sure all the air bubbles are out of it. And then if it's a little bit off at the bottom on the seam, it's no big deal. So even though that's off a little bit, we're okay there. We're going to overlap again. So then again, just make sure, so you got a bubble right there. Just contamination on the pipe, some kind of debris. It's okay though. And then next thing you know, you're gonna go strip 2. So here you want to find out, do you want it to be a tight weave? Do you want it to be a big weave? Somewhere in the middle? I like to go somewhere like right there is probably good. I know on the, so when you guys start on the straight here, it's going to be nice and big. And then when you get to the radius, it's going to be tight on the inside and large on the outside. So keep that in mind when you're setting this up. So somewhere around, what's that, looks like about 3/8 of an inch to maybe a 1/2 inch is perfect. So go ahead and get your second piece on there. And the more time you spend on getting all these wrinkles out now, the better the outcome it is later. Okay, and then again, we're just going to go ahead and rub this in. Okay, so now we have 2 pieces on. So far, you guys see the pattern we're going for. We're just going to try to keep that all the way throughout the whole pipe. So we're just going to literally cut a bunch of strips and just keep doing that. The underside is going to look somewhat like that. So you're going to have this little staggered seam that runs all across the bottom of this thing. What we can do as well is, I like to basically lay mine from the top down. This one we got a little bit off on, so see, we're not completely on the seam at all. But as long as you're on this bottom side, you're fine. It doesn't have to be directly there, so you're fine there. The bottom, nobody's ever going to see the bottom. You get plenty of overlap on the bottom where it's the hottest, so it'll be perfectly covered. And that's that. So I don't know what else I could tell you up to this point. Let's just go ahead and cut a bunch of these things and wrap this all the way up. We might show you how we do it around the weld areas. Sometimes we'll take a small strip and go over the weld first and then run this right over across the top or butt it right to the weld. So we'll show you on that, but let's speed up through this process and we'll show you what we do on the weld, and then we'll just keep going from there. Okay guys, we got down to the weld. I think what we have done in the past is we don't want to put a big piece in here. It's kind of hard to lay it all flat because you're going to end up getting a lot of little wrinkles here. So we're going to cut this strip down in half. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but just kind of rip it down, and then we'll use the other half on the other weld. Most of you guys on the intakes are not going to have a weld to deal with, but I figure I have that to deal with, so I might as well show you how we go about this. So what I like to do is just, we're going to go right over the top of the weld, and then we're just going to go around meticulously and try to get as many wrinkles out as we can. And then on the next layer, we're going to butt the next layer right up to the weld like that if we can. So let's see how well we can do this. Okay, then what we're gonna do, our next seam was like right here. So it worked out to where we're pretty close to getting right tucked into that weld and keeping our seam there. Okay, on the welds, I think what we're going to do is cut a bunch of strips, and we're just going to go smaller strips. So we're going to start back over here, and we're just going to work our way with smaller strips around the radius until we get over the weld, and then we'll back straight again. And then when we get back to this area, same thing, we're going to cut a bunch of one inch strips and do the radius on this as well. And that's the easiest way to get through this. So again, if you can make these straight, it's great. It's going to be really hard with a razor blade because it's fiberglass weave in here. So I like to just cut down the middle, and then you're going to use the straight edge on the seam, and so the cut edge will be hidden underneath the straight edge, if that makes any sense. So oops. So we have the cut edge on this side and the straight edge on this side. You're going to want the straight edge to continue with your pattern here. And it looks like we've fallen pretty good into our pattern. So what we do is going to just keep the straight edge in our pattern. Okay. And we just take your time. You get all the wrinkles out on the radius. You get little creases in there, they'll probably get covered up, but obviously, if you can get most of them out, go for it. Cover it. So I think what I might do is put another piece on this side and then toss one over the top so we don't get such of a steep drop off on both sides. Let's try that. Even though we guys show you these videos and how to do this stuff, and everyone's a little different, sometimes you just have to learn as you go, figure it out. So we could cut all that out of our videos and not show you guys our trials and errors, but we'd rather keep it real. And if we have a problem or run into a situation, I'd rather you guys see that and how we decide to navigate around that versus trying to hide it and pretend we're perfect, because it's not what the point of these videos is. Although we are perfect and stuff, but you know. I think what we might try to do, see if this works out for us. I think that worked out a little bit better. Maybe if you guys just put little snips on this side of the weld as you get going on this, if you have a weld. Again, most of you guys won't have to deal with this, so. All right, so far, this is what we have going for us. So not too many wrinkles. We didn't do too well on this weld here, I'll tell you that, but lesson learned. So, okay, let me cut some strips real quick and we'll be right back. All right, we cut what material we have left here. I'm thinking it's going to be close, ladies and gentlemen. We might run out of material, but we're just going to keep on trucking. And if we run out, which I hope we don't, at least you get the idea of what we're doing here. This was not fun. I'm not happy. Just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. This was a great time. So that wraps up the whole video, and it was a fun, tedious video, if you can put those two words together. This is what the outcome looks like. We could have did a little bit better, but to be honest with you, I hate doing this, and I got bored halfway through it. So the welds are the hardest part. We kind of butchered the weld on this deal. So there's other ways to do it. If you guys watching have a different way of doing this that comes out great and successful, I've seen some of your guys' stuff out there. It looks awesome. So if you want, just put a comment down below. Let us know what you guys are doing and how you guys are doing that, and that could help other people as well come up with other methods. But this is the method we used. To be honest with you, I don't do this on any of the cars we work on. I actually have my wife do it. So but now that she sees that I can do it, I guess I just shot myself in the foot on that one, because looks like I'll get more practice on this in the future. So anyways, here's the big old filter on the end of that guy, gold wrapped all the way around. So came out decent. But let's go toss this on the car. What we'll do is the ending shots of the video. We'll go ahead and put this on the car and leave you with that, with the credits. So but again, if you guys have any questions, let us know. One thing I want to say is we used a 30-foot roll and almost didn't have enough. And towards the end over here, we actually had the gap, spread out the gap big time. Another thing you might be able to get away with is we did like a 3/8 to a 1/2 inch spacing in between each one. You know, maybe go an inch. If you go like an inch spacing in between, you'll still have a good overlap, and you won't run out of material. So that's something you can possibly do. If it were my car, I would probably get a 30-foot and a 15-foot and just keep the tight weave. The tighter, the more coverage and more overlappage you have, the better result you'll actually have on the cooling effect of this, or keeping the air cool. So, but yeah, so any questions, let us know. If there's any other videos you guys want to see, let us know. We have hot pipes, turbo manifolds, we can wrap, we can do all kinds of weird stuff. So just let us know what you want to see, and we'll get on that for you. And again, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff that they always tell you in every video that you see on YouTube. Until the next time, guys, we'll see you next time.